Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your 2020 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Taurus. And before we get started, I just wanted you to know that I will be offering a tarot pop-up via newsletters. So go ahead and sign up for that if you are interested in tarot offerings. I'll occasionally offer those through there. And take a moment to subscribe to this channel if you would like to have some support, guidance regarding the different areas of your life throughout 2020. You guys know I put out monthly readings, weekly readings, all of that good stuff. And of course, check me out on Instagram if you would like more content, more readings, more good stuff. All of the links to work with me are in the description box, or you can head over to onyxhealing.com if you would like to check out my work. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lay this spread out and then we will get started. Okay, let's start with your oracle cards for 2020. I do the best I can. Okay, so this is just about giving it effort, right? It's one of those things where you kind of want to steer away from perfectionism because that is going to be completely fear-based, but instead focusing on, I'm going to do my best in this moment to figure it out and trusting that you're going to keep improving the more you practice. It's something that you're just going to do the best that you can in the moment, and that's going to compound over time. And then we also have yes, you can. All right, so whatever it is that's on your mind or whatever your intention is for 2020, just saying, yes, I can, having that affirmation behind you is going to be really, really supportive. So yes, 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 you can. And then we have play, make it a game, ask your inner child, turn things upside down, get new perspective. So play with it, get creative. And I just see this as kind of asking your inner child for guidance. It's very similar to asking your body what exactly it needs in this moment and kind of letting that help you navigate things. And that's going to contribute to a lot of healing as well in 2020. And then we have adventure. Yeah, so this whole element over here about making it a game is something that the adventure piece is really supportive of. So it just looks to me like there's a lot of things unfolding in 2020 that, you know, this is going to be a big year for it being a central part of your journey. So it's kind of like when you look back on this, it's going to really feel like an adventure. It's going to feel like it is a game, or it is that thing that you've been wanting. The path is going to continue to unfold and show itself to you, so allow yourself to lean into that. And the central energy for 2020 is the Emperor. Okay, so Capricorn had this as well. And what I like to bring up with the Emperor, it's the archetype of the divine masculine. So when you have this as the central energy, you're going to want to keep your eyes on two things. One, burnout, right? Because if you're running this too hot, if this temperature goes up too much, then it is going to basically put you in a position of burnout. If this is too disorganized, right, if it's too watery, if you're not using divine masculine to your advantage, then you're going to feel really scattered, or you're going to feel like you're not getting anything done. It's just also not a good place to be. And so using divine masculine in the way that it's most supportive is going to be the best option. What I mean by that is boundaries, discipline within yourself, showing up for something every day, making a commitment to yourself. These things are where divine masculine really supports us. And so the crossing energy for that is the Fool. Maybe this is a new attempt for you, or this is something that is simply a new experience, like a new attempt, a new trial, a new whatever it is that you're doing. Or maybe this goes against the process that you were using before. Maybe you were just totally in a feminine flow state. with everything that we're creating. And so now this is kind of like the new attempt, the new version of yourself kind of needs a bit more of that grounding masculine energy just to give everything form. So you can kind of imagine the feminine is feeling and the masculine is form. It's more of the material. And I just see this as you kind of balancing these two things in the new approach that you're taking to whatever it is that you're breathing life into in 2020. What you have moving out is the Four of Swords. Yep. So this is the rest card. It's about sleepiness, just not doing anything, kind of taking a hands-off approach. This is the time of winter, is kind of what I like to describe it. It's the season in your life where there's actually less action happening. And so this is way busier. Feminine, masculine, as far as what the dominant energy sitting behind it is. So it's kind of like the what you have shifting out is the fact that your patch of land has been frozen over, like it was regenerating. That's an important part of farming, is letting the soil do what it needs to do. Now you have all of these seeds that are being planted. You know, the Fool is sitting here. This is a new intention that you're setting, a new way of being. The Emperor is all about taking action, getting that inspiration, doing the damn thing, and kind of letting yourself shift into that more and more, stepping into taking action more and more. And then the oncoming energy is the Ace of Pentacles. I love this Ace of Pentacles. It's so pretty. But this is like a new endeavor, right? So similar to the Fool is about taking the leap, making the jump, doing it. And the Ace of Pentacles is about planting the seed. It's the initiation, a process. So wherever that happens, maybe you're just making an energetic adjustment and then you really get the ball rolling on a certain endeavor, plan, project, mission that you have in 2020. That's really what I would like to see happen here, is just the putting your intention behind a mission. Like, what are you gonna create? What are you gonna initiate in 2020? And I think that's just gonna really keep you in a state of wanting to show up. That's the main thing, because you're not gonna want to anticipate motivation coming. Motivation is a bit of a scarce resource for many people, and so I don't like viewing it as you need motivation or this is what's going to maintain your motivation. Your motivation is going to derive from your why, attaching yourself to a mission, purpose, or understanding of why these things are important to you. And the Ace of Pentacles is just about you being able to like put pen to paper, actually in the creative process of doing the thing that you intended to do. This doesn't have to just be related to a project or business or anything like that. It can also be emotional, right? If you have an emotional intention, if you are looking at doing more healing work in 2020, that is also something that you need to show up for, maybe rooting yourself in more of that masculine energy, despite the fact that healing is inherently feminine. All of that is going to be working together in order for you to pursue the thing that you want. Now let's look at your goal. So goal, career, your intention for 2020, whatever you're working towards, this is the card for you. King of Swords, be okay doing it your way. That's the main thing that you want to keep in mind. It's your project, it's your endeavor, it's your life, it's your thing that you need to show up for. And the King of Swords is just highlighting that it's safe for you to take your own approach, for you to really step into that mastery of thought, mastery of mind, letting that run a bit more and trusting yourself with that energy in order to make your goals a reality. So the King of Swords is just helping you to do that. It's when you get the hit of inspiration, when you have the idea, when you get that full body aha, that's what you're really leading with in order to make that a reality. Trust yourself with all of that. Trust the intuitive part of you that just gets that dose of inspiration. Follow that. And then this is your relationships in 2020. Yes, this can be romantic. It can absolutely be about partnership if that's something that you want to look at right now, but it's not exclusively defined as such. This can also be platonic relationships as well. We have the Queen of Cups. I am going to clarify this, but just know that this is all about your emotional state, paying close attention to your emotions, pay attention to your inner child, pay attention to the ways that you're showing up emotionally in relationships. It's going to be a big tell as far as what's going on and how the other person or people are going to respond. And the Queen of Cups is also helping you to trust the emotional piece of things more in relationships. And we have the Eight of Spades. This is equivalent to the Eight of Swords in a normal deck. You have to trust the emotion without having a plan for, well, how is the other person going to respond? The Eight of Spades is really an important piece of this because you don't want to shapeshift in order to make other people comfortable emotionally. That's a bad approach. It's just not going to work because then you're going to be sacrificing yourself. This can lead to resentment. This can lead to a whole bunch of stuff that you probably don't want to infuse in your relationships. So it's best to not even pay attention to like what's going to happen if I share this emotion, or if I'm vulnerable, or if I show up in this way, or if I put myself out there in this way. You can't become consumed by what the other person is going to do. Be responsible as you communicate your feelings, right? You don't want to just emotionally dump onto somebody or, be horrible and disrespectful, right? That's not going to yield good results. But the main thing is that you simply want to really check in with yourself if you feel like you're falling into a pattern of, I'm anticipating how the other person is going to receive this information and therefore I'm not going to share it with them. That is always going to be, first you are robbing yourself of the opportunity to experience something wonderful, right? Because it really could turn out to be that way. And two, you're not giving other people the opportunity to show up for you as well. That's another thing that I'm getting from this card is like, other people also want to hear you, see you. And so other people are responsible for their own emotions, assuming you're doing that in a responsible way. But know that there's way more to gain from showing up in your relationships with your true and honest feelings. And trust that more than, oh my God, what if they don't receive this, or what if? The what ifs are all speculation. Give people the opportunity to show up and see what happens, see what happens from there. And it's a great opportunity for healing as well. Don't rob yourself of the opportunity to heal through vulnerability. And then this is material world. So think money, home, resources, anything in the material. We have the Wheel of Fortune. I'll clarify this as well. I like this card here just because it's like the opportunities are abundant. The unknown is basically where you can put a lot of your energy and letting that support you. However, the dark side, the shadow side of this is that if all you're dumping into the unknown is the way that things are not going to work for you, or the way that you're not supported, or all of the frustration and scarcity that you have around the unknown, then it's something that can also compound if you're not careful. So the main thing here is that you just want to be very, very intentional about what you're placing in the unknown. And to clarify, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So again, these are the same card. And I see this as like, yep, you can consider every action that you take, every thought, word, and action that you're blasting out into the unknown is essentially a seed. Good news, thoughts are the least dense. Just so you know, you can have negative thoughts. That's okay. We all do. They come up, right? What if? That's okay. But you really want to focus on the bulk and the consistency of what you're doing around the actions that you're taking materially, right? If every time you spend money, you're leading with fear, oh my God, I'm so terrified of spending this money, that's not going to bode well for you. Instead, if you spend with gratitude, right, like I'm so grateful to have the resources and being able to do this, that's what's going to compound as well. So having more intention about what energy you're bringing into the material, what you're leading with, what you're initiating materially is going to be what you get back. So there's a vast opportunity, again, for healing in the material world and also setting a very specific intention around what you want to get out of the material world and leading with the emotional piece. And that might take some work for a lot of you, right? Because Taurus energy wants to feel really secure. And when that's not the case, it can kind of throw things way off. And so doing some work around this can be really helpful. And then this is the advice for you, the Four of Cups. Be okay saying no to certain things. Give adequate time and space to make decisions, or, figuring out your aligned yes and your aligned no. Ask your body. That is probably the best advice in this reading. Ask your inner child. I also consider asking the body. What does your body want? What feels good to the body, not the mind? Your body has a lot of information. And being in a space of, one, not having to say yes to everything, not taking on every obligation, not doing everything for everyone, but also saying yes to what feels really good, but noticing what that looks like for you is going to be a good practice in 2020 with all things involved. The ideas, your endeavors, depending on what type of emotional stuff you have going on or what type of healing is around this, it might feel really scary to your body to be vulnerable. But just checking in each and every step of the way is going to be helpful. Okay, let's go into the timeline for second, third, and fourth quarter. You guys know the drill, and these are about 3 months each, give or take. They're a little bit more fluid, but here's the first quarter. We have the Three of Wands. This is about casting your vision. What I mean is, what intention do you have for your future? What are you aiming at? Just looking at kind of the broad landscape. What am I going to build here? That's the question that you have to ask. And so I actually think that goal setting kind of extends for you, or intention setting extends into the first quarter of 2020. It's not just about like, oh, I'm setting myself up for 2020. While that is a lot of fun and I'm all about that, it's also about carrying that forward into the beginning of the year and really defining it. And then second quarter, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so again, this is where, like what we had over here with the Wheel of Fortune, being very intentional and explicit about what energy you're bringing into the unknown, right? Because we can basically project past experiences onto the unknown and then get freaked out by everything, right? That's what our brains and our minds need to do and want to do in order to protect us, right? That's partly where wisdom is derived, but a lot of the time it's just make-believe in your mind. And so this is where instead you either want to give the unknown the benefit of the doubt, like maybe this could be different, let's see where things go, or maybe there's a different meaning you can attach to the unknown. Because it's not about going from everything's rotten to everything's wonderful. You guys know I don't like that black and white flip-flopping. So instead, it's about making small incremental changes to the projections that you're putting out there and being really intentional around what am I really putting into the unknown. And then the third quarter, we have the Devil. This is temptation. This is old belief systems. Feeling trapped as well is an energy that's coming off of this card. I really think this is just where you're able to process and work through shadow. Okay, we all have that. We all have wounding. We all have darkness. We all have these things that live within us. And so this is just a great opportunity for you to look at that and then meet it with what it needs, rather than just having a knee-jerk response to it. Because that's all you can really do with the shadow self, right? You don't want to demonize it. You don't want to make it this evil villain that lives within you. That's not what it's trying to do. It's just like what I said here. The negative projections that we put into the unknown is simply a result of wounding, trauma, darkness, what have you. And the devil is where you're actually able to work through a lot of that. And then the fourth quarter, so wrapping up 2020, we have the Two of Cups, connection, clarity, co-creation. And the clarity piece is really coming from the reflection. So no matter what, it's kind of like the reflective power that happens in this fourth quarter of 2020 is going to be really powerful moving forward. This is also where I'm seeing more relationship oriented stuff is really coming to the surface. And that's where there's even more revelations take place during that fourth quarter of 2020. So you have a lot that's just unfolding. As I mentioned before, it's kind of like the path is going to keep revealing new layers as you move through 2020. So you just have to show up, do your best in the present moment, and letting that be enough. All right, let's do a 3-card pick. You're welcome to pick a card, any card. Ask a question, clarity, guidance, whatever it is that you're needing in this moment. If you need more time, pause the video. But card number 1, we have the High Priestess. Trust your intuition. Trust your gut. The gut can take time to develop, but really listen to that whisper. And remember, the whisper, like your intuition, is actually neutral. So if it's like a fear-based shrieking inside of you, that's obviously not intuition. Your intuition is going to be really calm, it's going to be really stable, it's going to be really secure. Trust that part of yourself. And then card number 2, we have the Magician. Actively create. The solution is to set the intention and be clear about what you're asking for, making sure your thoughts, words, and actions align with what you're asking for. Anything outside of that is going to bring a discrepancy between what you're receiving and what you're asking for. So you want to align everything, put all of your energy behind the thing that you're asking for, or even just starting with making the ask to begin with is a really powerful practice. And then the card number 3, we have the Queen of Swords. Do it your way, very similar to the King of Swords over here. It's okay for you to kind of handle things in a way that feels really aligned to you and for you. Focus on alignment more than approval is the main thing here. Focusing on approval or trying to shapeshift in order to please others is not going to serve you. So the important piece is just staying true to yourself, staying authentic to yourself, and showing up in a way that really feels resonant with what you're going for. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, if you want to know which decks I used in this reading, they are listed in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe so you have more supportive videos throughout your 2020. And don't forget to watch your Sun, Moon, and Rising if you haven't already. And if you want to know how to work with me one-on-one, go to onyxhealing.com or check out the description box for all of the fun stuff that I have to offer. And until next time, have a beautiful 2020, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.